Welcome to another episode of Gin and Scotch. Cheers.
Cheers.
What are you drinking tonight, Kyle?
Tonight I'm drinking the house scotch because I forgot to bring some for some reason. Lafroig 10-year, which is, it says on the bottle, the most richly flavored of all Scotch whiskeys. And I think I brought this before. This is the one that I give to people and they're like, this tastes like burnt Band-Aids. And I was like, yeah, isn't it great? And they're like, no, it's fucking terrible. But it's the most peated, which is this sort of dark, mossy flavor. And then it's also the smokiest.
Okay.
So it tastes like a bog. Not like the British version, because that they call it the toilet the bog. But it tastes like a marsh.
Okay. Right. I was gonna say, I hear bog and I think dead trees and leaves and water.
Yeah, that's what it tastes like. Yeah, exactly, like a marsh, like a swamp.
Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why he forgot, to bring a bottle of scotch is because homeboy hooked it up. My birthday is this Friday, and you hooked me up with the Akira Kurosawa 4 Samurai Classics. Now we've talked about this on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Of me trying to track these movies down just to see it for the first time, because I've never seen them.
They don't stream anywhere.
No. So I'm super excited about this. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
This is an amazing gift. I'm super stoked about this.
My pleasure.
Tonight we're talking about Duke Ellington and Count. Now, am I saying that Basie? Basie.
Yeah.
And you're doing Survival of the Fattest.
Right, which is a compilation.
Yes.
Right.
Of multiple punk rock, all of them on Fat Mike's record label.
Right.
And I don't remember the year it came out with. You know, you guys were just talking about the dogs talking.
Uh-huh.
Have you heard about the dog? It's like a Labradoodle, and it speaks like 1,000 words. They have little buttons on the ground and everything, and it hits.
I've seen some of those. Yeah.
Okay, so this one has like a very complex, a very complex vocabulary, and he started asking who am I? It became self-aware.
Like, what's the meaning of life?
Like, what's the meaning of what am I? And
what's my purpose?
And they're like, well, what do you think you are? So I'm a human. They're like, no, you're a dog. And it's like, oh my god.
The dog's like, what the fuck?
So the dog's communicating with them, and it gets to the point where it's like, I'm sad. I'm hurt. And like it doesn't understand the relationship that it's in. And now they've got the dog on antidepressants. Because like
he taught it to be self-aware and now it's sad. It's like a little AI, right?
Right. Well, here's the funny thing. It's like instead of trying to work through, which by the way, linguistically, like therapy for a dog on this scale would have been revolutionary in like the understanding of the animal mind. But their answer was, let's just give it drugs.
Oh yeah.
Let's just pump it full of pills. Let's not try to like give it a therapy session and let it work through these emotions and these very like and this is completely a man-made psychological abuse.
Right. They taught it to get smart enough to understand sadness.
Right. To understand to understand that it is not human and that it is something else. But I thought I was your baby. No, not really.
They should just go back and be like, you know what? We're so sorry we said that. You're our baby. You're a human.
That's just
you just aren't employed. That's why you have to stay here.
That's just as fucked up, man.
Well, I mean, not from the dog's perspective.
Right.
Dog would be like, oh, thank God. Don't fuck with me like that. I saw one where the lady, she recorded one button to where the dog could cuss her out, and the dog was like, treat. She's like, no treat. And the dog's like, treat. And she's like, no treat. And the dog pushes the other button and goes, bitch. So, you know she recorded, it's her voice.
Right.
So the dog push the button. And she's like, you're in trouble now. But I would totally do that. Yeah.
Bitch.
And like, she recorded it, like, with that in mind. Like, it has that snotty,
right.
you know. It's so funny. Bitch.
That's fucking funny. That's funny. Who wants to go first? Do you want to go first?
I'll go first.
I feel like Duke Ellington's a deep, you know.
Oh, yeah, that's a deep record. It's my favorite big band album, and it's 2 big bands.
Right. And so, I mean, do you want to end on a very, very deep...
let's end on a deep note.
Okay.
Right. So I found a couple of things about this compilation that were interesting, and I managed to twist it around and bring back the sort of jazz connections and jazz influences into these punk rock deals, and also some kind of pop music and metal. And I'm going to talk about it right now.
And you've got notes, all right.
Yeah. So, California Dreamin' is a cover on the very first track, and it's kind of a boilerplate punk tune to where it's kind of more interesting than some of the other ones because it does use a minor scale.
Right.
And a lot of the ones on here are kind of like major scale punk to where it's kind of poppy. Like, they're using the same scale that the Beatles used to write "I Want to Hold Your Hand" and
right.
Stuff like
The feeling I got from Survival of the Fattest was it was around the time that pop punk emerged.
Right.
So this is definitely in the era where Blink transitions to Blink 182.
Right.
And it's a lot more mainstream. I remember these guys, this album dropped around the time like the Van's Warped Tour got real big. And so a lot of these names toured on the Van Warped Tour, and they are, you know, the iconic 1990s pop punk bands.
Yeah. I had a friend that apparently it was right before the internet really took hold. His name was Henry, and he was this guy from Boston. And he came right from Boston to San Francisco to work with me on the furniture truck.
Right.
And he'd say stuff like, hey, go throw that in the barrel. And I'm like, in the barrel of what? And he goes, like the garbage barrel? I mean, I said, do you mean the trash can? He goes, trash can? What are you, fucking bizarre? It's a fucking garbage barrel. And I was like, nobody here says that. And he goes, nobody says barrel? And I was like, no, I've never heard anyone say that. And he goes, what the fuck, California? Right? And his other one was like, they say bubbler instead of drinking fountain. And he had a couple other ones that we would come up every once. So he got in a pop punk band around that time, around 2000 to 2003.
Right.
And it was called Sorry Orange, which is a terrible name.
Sorry Orange.
Right, and he got to go on this like little tour of kind of happy, bubbly punk bands. He was a guitar player. But the thing about Henry is that he loves to get blackout drunk. loves to get blackout drunk. And he used to make his own crack. He would buy cocaine and he would make it himself. Right?
Why?
Because, hey.
It lasted longer?
Maybe he got the taste. Maybe he was the, you know.
He's a connoisseur,
Gordon
right?
Ramsay of partying. I don't know.
Right. What is it? What do you make distill wine into? You make a brandy, right? Is it brandy that's
I think
distilled
so.
Wine?
Right.
I saw a movie with Patton Oswalt where he plays a character. He buys cheap wine and he distills it down into brandy, so he drinks nothing but brandy. But yeah.
Right. So Henry didn't quite fit in with the vibe that the promoter was trying to. He was like, yeah, one day I woke up and I had taken a canoe and I went out to this, and I broke into a store and I took some cookies, and the next day they found me passed out on this island surrounded by cookies. It was hilarious. And I was like, I bet they didn't think that was very funny. He goes, nah, they hated it. So...
I don't know, man. This guy sounds like he's got a great memoir.
Right. If he can remember any of it. Yeah. So, these guys were not doing that. No. These guys were being a little bit more serious about their music. But the California Dreamin', I thought if you ever wondered what the punk version of this sounds like, this is definitely like the definitive punk version of California Dreamin'. So, the next tune. Justified Black Eye. So, it was like about a girl that made excuses for getting her ass kicked in her relationship. And I doesn't even care for the subject matter. It's like, if you're going to sing happy punk songs, make them happy.
But no, that's not how punk works. Like,
right. The next one that did pique my interest was the song "And You Thought That," what is it? Oops, sorry. "And We Thought That Nation Building Was Bad" by Propagandhi.
I like Propagandhi. Right. Actually, they have several songs on their actual Propagandhi album where I'm like, oh, okay, I can get behind this. And I actually really like this. I remember liking the. So full disclosure, because we started doing this, like, I went and I re-listened to it. I spent a whole day re-listening and kind of having this like nostalgic moment, and I was like, I don't remember that, but I do remember this. And Propagandhi, specifically this song, was one of the songs I would play over and over and over because I was so like deep.
Yeah.
I was so like into like I'm smart.
It's bopping along, and then it has this sort of lyrical break that I guess is in the bridge. I didn't write that part down, but the lyrics are, "Can you fucking believe what a stupid world? Fuck this." And I was like, I could see writing that. Just being like, can you fucking believe? And that's kind of the tone of how he delivers it. It's like, can you fucking believe what a stupid world this is? Fuck this. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Pretty good.
Yeah, I can get behind this.
Yeah. It's ironic that he kind of sings it in this sort of happy poppy way, but it's still these sort of nihilistic lyrics. So I thought that was a nice combination. Sleep by Lagwagon. I got a real Nirvana whiff off of this tune because of the chords, and one of the things that Kurt and Dave Grohl mostly says it, but I think Dave Grohl is quoting Kurt when he says this, is he says that we were trying to write pop songs with a punk sensibility.
Right.
Like, they weren't a grunge band. Dave Grohl says, well, I'm playing disco, and he quotes all the disco songs, like the...
Oh, yeah, no, he's got a conversation where he sits down with Pharrell.
Right, yeah.
And he brings up, and in that video, the audio person brings up the tracks in the background so you can hear the comparison between the two.
Yeah, and Dave Grohl's like, oh, this is this song by the James Gang, and Pharrell's like, no, it isn't. And the guy plays it, and he goes, yeah. He's playing these disco, dunkin, 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 boom. And that's the beginning of Teen Spirit, just sped up.
Like, here's the thing, though. So, like, you know, what is grunge? Who came up with that term? Like, it's like alternative, right? Like, there's this great interview with Billy Joel from Green Day. He's like, they say my music's alternative. Alternative to what? Like, they are trying to be punk. They are writing punk songs.
Yeah, and they were a #1 band. What's alternative about that? So originally, alternative meant that you got airplay on college radio, and you didn't have a major label promoting you.
Excuse me.
There's a mainstream way that music worked in the 80s, and then there was the alternative way.
Right.
So Depeche Mode was alternative. They didn't get a lot of airplay on... pop radio.
The Misfits would be alternative.
Right.
Because they were total garage, bootstrap.
Right. REM was a college band.
Right.
And then they had several albums before any of us ever heard of them.
Pearl Jam was a college band.
Right.
They had like 10 albums out before, like 10 actually dropped.
So in my opinion, grunge is blues music combined with metal.
Okay.
Because the tones are metal, but the melodies are in a minor key. They're, it's been raining. I kind of have the blues, and they're singing about sad shit.
Well, see, and that's the thing is, like, you immediately invoke the Seattle vibe.
Right.
How many grunge bands can you name came out of fucking Seattle?
3.
And who are they?
Well, not Nirvana, because they came from Olympia.
Okay, what's the other one?
Soundgarden.
Soundgarden? Okay,
Soundgarden counts.
That's solid. That's a solid... Because Soundgarden's a physical
and
place.
They're super bluesy, right?
Right. Soundgarden counts.
Is Pearl Jam from
Lead singer's out of San Diego.
And Stone Temple Pilots is also from San Diego.
That's correct.
Right. And I don't consider Queensryche from the grunge era, but they are from Seattle.
So there's I still like them. I think they're great. Collective Soul.
Collective Soul is great.
I think they're great. I think they're fantastic. I used to listen to them a lot.
I'll tell you my Collective Soul story one time.
And
wait, are they the Runaway Train guys?
They are the Runaway.
Oh, I hung out with them once.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
So they're doing this interview and they're like, because they're from the East Coast. They're like from I want to say they're from Nashville or something. Mm-hmm. Like they're like legit East Coast, right? Mm-hmm. And they're trying to get their records up and running and everything. And a studio exec comes in and he throws a flannel shirt at him and says, "Put this on your grunge now." And so after I heard that and I started listening to other interviews with these musicians who were grunge according to the radio station, I'm like, oh, that grunge isn't a fucking thing. Grunge really is not a fucking thing.
It was a vibe that a couple of bands had with the flannels and the ripped jeans and Converse and long hair. Right. And then everyone was like, oh, we'll do that. Right. It's like you look at Poison and you look at Warrant and you look at, what's the name of the band that had a song? Fly to the angels. Anyway, all these bands that were pop bands,
right.
When hair metal came in, tease up your hair metal. They even did it to Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses came out in 1987, and Welcome to the Jungle, Axl has his hair all teased up for Welcome to the Jungle. The very next video, he had it down. He was like, no, fuck that, we're not that. Right? Hair metal was over, and he's like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. But, they did him up like that. So the Sleep tune... I got a real Nirvana vibe because of the way the chords are. If you listen to it, you'd be like, this does sound like a Nirvana song.
Right.
But the lyrics I don't really listen to lyrics. I listen to the talking and the melody, but I don't really hear what they're saying. I don't know what the song's about. Probably about sleeping.
That's right. You don't listen to lyrics like other people listen to. So the thing is with...
No, a lot of people love punk because they're like, I love the message. And I was like, what's the message? I don't know.
And that's the thing is I used to skate to this, and I picked up on the words, what the words were saying over and over.
You're a words guy. You're a fucking writer.
I am, right. But yeah, that's what I'd listen to. I was listening to what they the message. That's why I said propaganda is I'm so intellectual because I listen to this and I have views, I have opinions, but really I think it was 17 or 18, I'm just regurgitating what I'm hearing, right?
My 10 favorite albums, I don't know what any of them are about. Mr. Bungle has a song called Egg. I just think it's about eggs. There's no way it's about eggs.
It's Mr. Bungle. It's totally about eggs.
Yeah, it might be about eggs, right? Right, but someone will tell me, oh, this song's about this. And I'm like, oh, really? Really? That actually happened a couple times. We were driving to Big Bear, I think, and I stopped and I still had a CD player, so I bought one of those gas station CDs, Hall & Oates' Greatest Hits.
All right.
And we're listening to the song Maneater, and Heather, my wife, is like, you know what? I'm tired of everyone villainizing women because she's a man-eater. Why isn't there a woman-eater? And I was like, yeah, there's a lot of those, actually. It's not looked upon favorably. When men do that. And we looked up what the song is about. It's about the music business in New York City. It's not about a person at all.
That checks out.
Right.
That totally checks. It's Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
That totally checks out.
Watch out, boy, she'll use you up.
Right.
She's a man-eater, right, because it just consumes people.
Didn't the Bee Gees have a whole song about that?
Maybe, yeah, I don't know.
I know the Beatles had a song about the studio.
And the song Rich Girl?
Yeah. She's a rich girl.
It's about a guy. Right. It was written about a guy that they knew. One of their girlfriends had an ex-boyfriend that was this rich kid that, dad was just giving them money. You can rely on the old man's money, but it's actually about a guy. But,
that doesn't.
He didn't want to sing about a guy, so he made it about a girl.
Dick doesn't sell very well.
Dick does not sell. It's free. Right. So, let's see. What else do we got? Titty Twister by Diesel Boy. I kind of liked that it's a pop song. It's using this sort of major chord progression like a Beatles tune would, but in that sort of pop punk genre. And all I wrote down was "you sack of shit." So it's like if the Beatles were foul mouthed, this is what you would get.
Oh, you sack of shit.
That's all I wrote down.
Oh my God, it's funny.
And then Mother Superior by Good Riddance, I wrote down that they're using the Green Day chords. And so when you...
So, okay, you're going to have to unpack that.
When you talk about music...
Right.
There's this axis of something where they do the 4-chord songs and they do like there's...
Axis of Awesome.
Axis of Awesome.
I listen to them all the time.
Right.
I want to do that song by myself for karaoke.
Right.
Just because it requires all three of them to sing all the different parts.
Yeah.
I want to be able to nail that in one.
That's a good life goal. They go through 40 songs that all have the exact same chord progression. And some of it's stretched out and some of it's scratched it, but it's all the same chord progression. So Green Day is not using Green Day chords. They didn't invent these chords or these chord progressions.
Right.
But sort of the way it's in that genre, it's pop punk, and these chords go here. And it's like if you took off the vocals, you'd be like, oh, I can sing karaoke to this Green Day song. Right. So then that led me to major scales kind of sound like pop. It's the happy side of pop music.
Okay.
It's the when you talk about the mood of music, you say major is happy and minor is sad.
Okay.
And
I'm going to say okay, like I know the difference between major and minor. Carry on.
Okay. Let's inject a major scale and a minor scale and just like major, happy, bling, minor, sad, bling.
What's a scale?
A scale is a series of notes. There you go.
Okay. Moving on.
I'll send the chords to you. So a lot of these bands are using the happy scale, and I'm not getting the sort of anguish and disdain for the government and all those things that I kind of got to know punk as. Right. Even though I'm not a big punk guy, I like that it stands for something and that it's like this social movement and it's anti-establishment. And some of these bands are like just writing pop songs about girls that they want to hang out with.
Well, it's Propaganda and the Mother Superior, right?
Right.
These are political songs. But they are observational political statements.
Mm-hmm.
They are not idealized political statements.
It's also not a call to action.
It really is not. It's just like,
burn down the parliament. They're like, hey, I saw this.
Right. It was burn down the disco and a police truck from the dead Kennedys. Mm. Police truck's about fucking dirty cops.
Right.
And how they get called out in the newspaper, but nobody really does anything about it. Like they're like
no shit.
Early punk had a lot of political statements and what they have to say. Pop punk does not do that at all.
Right. And I was listening to this against Agent Orange, which came out in 1983, right in the middle of all the punk, and I was like, yeah, this is my new favorite punk band, right? And I'm listening to these guys, and I'm like, well, none of these have overtaken that yet. Until we get to Raum der Zeit.
Oh, the German band.
The German band, right?
Oh, that's so good, too, because it's all in German.
Right. So now what they're doing is they're using minor scales, and they're they really got everything sort of just tuned up. Like, this is the punk song I had been waiting for I don't know if this is the 8th or 9th one, but
right.
Raum der Zeit. Great tune.
Yeah.
Right. So to round out my listening, The song Vincent by NoFX is amazing. Now, I have a story to tell about this song. So, in 2002 to 2005, I was in this pop band, and the lead singer was the songwriter, and he's a great songwriter. Like, there's a song that I'm listening to right now, kind of going to punch up some ideas for it. He's a great songwriter. Right. But he's not a great friend. And he's a terrible guy to be in business with. And he's definitely the last person I would ever do anything financial with. Right. Again. But he did make it possible for me to like go on tour and have all these experiences. Right. And for that, I'm thankful. So one time we were playing at this place called the Fox Theater in Redwood City, and it's like 3,000 seats, a huge theater, right?
Oh, it's a pretty good crowd.
And we're opening for Better Than Ezra and Melissa Etheridge. Okay. So Better Than Ezra had one hit song.
I remember Better Than Ezra, and I vaguely remember Melissa Etheridge.
Come through my window, come through the way to the line of blue.
Yeah,
anyway,
that
she's kind of like a country pop lesbian.
Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah, a little bluesier than that, but not much.
Lilith Fair.
Yeah.
90s kind of chick rock of the 90s where they really kind of...
So we're opening the show, and we play our happy songs, and then the band goes off stage, and Tom does this version of Vincent by Don McLean, who is the writer of American Pie. Bye-bye, Miss American Pie.
Right.
So he does this song, and it brings the fucking house down. It's just him, his acoustic guitar, which is a vintage Martin guitar, highly sought-after acoustic guitar, and just him, his voice, and his guitar all by himself, and he sings this beautiful song. And it brings down the house, and I'm backstage thinking, why the fuck is he by himself? We should all be up there, like, playing. And then we go back, and I'm like, okay, we play the Happy Pancake song, the one that's on the radio, and everyone digs it. Because, anything that doesn't have trumpet on it, I'm like, I don't
fucking motherfucker.
I don't think we should be doing that one. So,
I'm here for one thing, and
so
one thing only.
That's my memory of the song Vincent.
Gotcha. Did it evoke a lot of positive memories then?
This version of Vincent is like the guy's mad at Vincent, and he wants Vincent to fucking know about it. So what are the lyrics? It's like, starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray, something, something, summer day, and all the things and stuff and junk and things. And this one's, starry, starry night, paint your palette blue and gray.
Yeah, and I always really like the tempo of that song, too.
Right, it's like...
It's fun.
So the connection to me is that this is a style swap, right? Just like California Dreamin', which was my second favorite one. Second after the German one. This one is third, but not because I liked it. I just like how it affected me. Like it impacted me. I was like, what did he do to Vincent?
Well, isn't that the whole thing for art? Like it affects you, right?
Yeah.
Therefore,
it produced an emotional response.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, from our poetry episode, where I was like, the poem is supposed to create an emotional response.
Which let me tell you, I was listening to the jazz album. I was looking at some stuff, and I was looking at our track record, what the fans were like looking at, and everything.
They want more poetry.
And I see, like, today we've got, like, which is like yesterday's results. We've got like 4 extra listeners. Mm-hmm. I'm like, well, that's interesting. And I click on it. I'm looking at it, and it's all the episode "Not Your Mother's Poetry," or "This Isn't Your Mother's Poetry," right? Right. And I was like, well, that's interesting. Like, and I looked back and like, because they do analyticals, like these little peaks and everything. And I look back for like the last 30 days, and there's all these like random little peaks and like interesting spots. And I was like, what is the number one episode our fans listen to? And the number one episode our fans listen to is "It's Not Your Mother's Poetry," where we had Bill on. Yeah. Apparently people love it.
We're going to do it again.
Obviously we're going to have Bill on again and talk shit. And
he should bring that Australian hip-hop. I was telling Heather about the Australian hip-hop, to where it's not like fight the power, and it's not about like police brutality. It's like about an Australian guy going to the grocery store and just like all the fun stuff he saw at the grocery store. Like Australian hip hop is fucking weird.
Yeah, but is that hip hop? I believe in the 5 tenets of hip hop. Right? And it all comes from the urban living, right? So like there's graffiti, there's
DJing, there's b-boying, and there's MCing. Right.
And so like if you're not for legitimate hip hop, if you're not like
but
because at that point you're just rapping, right? Because hip hop legitimately you need to be discussing about your experiences, your neighborhood. It is
well, that's the
poetry.
That's the Australians' experience. They're just white guys going to the grocery store. Well, I guess I'm going to write about that.
I guess, man.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's a far cry from Grandmaster Flash's "The Message."
Right. So even the Beastie Boys, when they're telling stories like High Plains Drifter or Paul Revere.
Right.
Where they're telling a story. It's not necessarily their story, but at least it's storytelling.
Right.
But the Beastie Boys are definitely b-boying and MCing and DJing and graffitiing.
And there was all this stuff in between. In fact, it was funny.
And Run DMC. I'm like trying to think, does Tupac count? Are they dancing that way to Tupac?
So
what about Biggie?
So that's kind of where the transition is from hip hop, which is part of the 5 tenements, and it's about community, and it's literally you boil hip hop down, and this is where the whole East and West thing really starts taking off.
Where there's a break.
The transition is when you get into what was classified media-wise as gangster rap. They are singing the exact same message. They're doing it in a very different way.
Right.
And so the beef between the two sides springs from basically, I just don't like the way that you're doing the same thing that I'm doing.
Right.
And being successful.
Right. And no one looked at MC Hammer and there was like, well, he's ours. No, everyone was like, I don't know what the fuck that guy's doing.
And that, what's funny about MC Hammer, he was really, really close friends with Tupac.
Was he?
Yeah. And they actually were really close. There was a documentary that they did a drama memory or whatever about Tupac and Biggie and everything and that relationship. And of course it's all hearsay and people 10, 15, 20 years, what's the fucking truth?
Right.
But there's this whole scene I remember where he's shooting basketball with MC Hammer. And I want to say this is like MC Hammer's The Pumps and the Bumps. I don't know if you remember that MC Hammer hit. It was like one of the last songs he released before he like really went into this game. Okay. So MC Hammer was, because MC Hammer is an artist and he's a musician. And he's trying to create his art, right?
Right.
And to stay relevant, he released a song called The Pumps and the Bumps. And it was basically about chicks and high heel shoes.
Give me the girls with the pumps and a bump. That's when I'm that I hit another slump. Just give me with the pump and a bump. Beady curve. Hitting on my quick nerves. Looking like ice cream. Ready to be served. Stretch it, bend it. Till I get it.
Well, where was that when we were trying to establish him as a character in the genre? Like,
but so that happened years later. So that's like, I think Hammer Time was like late 80s, Pumps and the Bumps like 94, 95. So it's like,
okay, so he was already out of it by then, yeah.
But in this drama thing, Tupac and Hammer are playing basketball and they're having a philosophical conversation because no matter what you can say about these gentlemen, they were philosophers who had deep conversations about their community and what the industry meant and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And Pac kind of calls Hammer out for being gangster and being a little bit ghetto and like the response. And I remember the juxtaposition because years later we look back and it's like, no, MC Hammer's clean cut. Mm-hmm. And he was a reverend. He believed in the scripture and preaching about it.
Right.
But in the movie, they decided to change the juxtaposition of the two characters to show that the greater conversation isn't villains and heroes, but just men trying to figure out the complex world that we've created for ourselves.
Oh, I want to check that out now because
I wish I could remember the name off of it too.
We'll find it. It's on Netflix or whatever.
Google to the rescue.
Right. One of the things I watched was this dramatic thing called The Down Low, and it was about it was about hip hop in the 80s and kind of how people got started, and it was the 4 pillars of hip hop that was, they were learning to DJ and MC and all that stuff. And then at the same time, this other documentary came out about hip hop that was the real side of it.
Right.
And
Wild Styles?
Oh, man, I don't remember. But yeah, it was just great to see how everything kind of played off of everything, and then they go to the Bay Area, and Tupac was in Digital Underground, the Humpty Dance band.
Yeah, I remember that.
Tupac was in that band.
Yeah, no, he's got...
Like, you don't think about that.
Yeah, no, he was. And he was in Nothing But Trouble with Chevy Chase, Dan Aykroyd, Demi Moore, John Candy. Okay, they pull over that group, and Tupac's in it, and he's like wearing he's like Groucho Marx glasses with shades on, and he goes whoop whoop, like he takes 2 steps, like it's hilarious. But they start doing one of their songs, and then Dan Aykroyd starts playing the piano. He goes, "Oh, you guys are definitely in a music band," and then he lets them go. Hilariously horrible movie. It's so bad it's good.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I remember that. Right. I remember I was like a wee lad, and my buddy goes, "That's fucking Tupac." And I'm like, get
the fuck out of here.
That ain't fucking Tupac. Tupac's Tupac. Right? Yeah, no, he was totally in that band.
Yeah. I would say that Tupac may have been as pop as Hammer, because Tupac came from this academic household, and he was a poet, and it's like, well, poetry ain't paying, I think I'm gonna have to rap.
Well, okay, it's academic. Okay, let's. His mom was a member of the Black Panthers.
Right.
Last time I checked, Black Panthers didn't make a lot of money.
No.
So being from an academic home and being from a place where education is important and being well read is important doesn't necessarily make him pop with daddy's money, because he still has a lot of, you look at his story, he still had a lot of issues. There still came in. He still wasn't rich.
Yeah, and I don't know the whole story.
Yeah, and he had to work for every. Now
he had an incredible work ethic, and Snoop talks about that.
Yeah.
Snoop's like, I did one song, and I'm listening back, and I go over to the next studio, and Tupac's got 6 songs done, and all of them fucking rule. And I'm like, oh my God, what am I doing?
what am I doing?
And it's like, Snoop, he's pretty prolific, right?
Right.
And he's like, yeah, Tupac would smoke me, man.
But it's the. I wouldn't argue that he was pop because he came up in an academic home. It was like he was a poet and he decided that poetry wasn't paying, so he got into rap. I would argue that he's pop because he was able to see the lay of the land of the industry and utilize opportunity to spread his message and become. How many #1 hits did he have?
Several, yeah.
Right,
like Dr. Dre never wrote any love songs, but Tupac did.
Right. Like if you look back on the genre,
the Beatles write love songs, so that's the connection I'm trying to make. I'm not trying to take anything away from him. I'm just trying to make connections.
And I'm saying, and I'm agreeing with you that as far as a pop, in the '90s when you saw rap, it was Pac. Right there. Even in the height of East Coast, West Coast, it's Biggie, it's Pac. Honestly, my friends introduced me to NWA later on.
Right. Yeah.
because Pac was #1.
Yeah.
And I think it was 95. I was introduced to the Wu-Tang Clan by my friend Robert Velasco. Mm-hmm. It's sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
He's all, check this out, and it's 36 chambers, and that's not. It's
I missed Wu-Tang completely.
Oh, yes, you did.
Because I was in the depths of my suburban scumbacking, and I wasn't listening to the radio and being influenced by other people. I was just kind of in my own little world.
Right.
And I just completely missed that altogether. So when I went to college in 2007, 2009, and met our buddy Chris Samaro, and he's like, yeah, Wu-Tang Clan. I'm like,
what?
I've seen the shirt, but is it any good? And he's like, what?
Have you ever listened to 36 Chambers?
No, I never have.
Do yourself a favor. Do yourself a favor.
Right.
Start with 36 Chambers.
Okay.
Okay. So Dave Chappelle does a bit on the Dave Chappelle show where he's in the hospital and he's being interviewed and he's being tortured. He's like, the Wu-Tang Clan, they came after me and he actually starts reciting the lines from an intro to one of their songs called "This Torture Motherfucker," and they're popping their stuff. That was the first thing I heard of Wu-Tang Clan. Was Torture. And it's an intro and it bleeds in, and the rest of it just immediately becomes a blur, because that year all of a sudden, and we're talking about a bunch of white kids in the Central Valley, California, in this the year of '95.
So just ultimate street cred.
Oh, right. Like just the hardest fucking kids, right?
The biggest pipe hitting motherfuckers.
Right. Every single one of these guys had a Bic side. All this was Bic, and their hair was all grown out, and it was combed straight back, right? Yeah. Blonde hair, blue eyed. These guys straight from the streets of Brooklyn.
Oh
right?
yeah.
It's so hard. Everybody had a Wu-Tang shirt. And
yeah, that's what I remember. I was like, oh, it's like Sean John or something. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. But I absolutely had no interest in buying any of their stuff. I just wanted to know more about them. Right. And it was like information non gratis.
Yeah, no internet yet.
There was no internet yet. All access I had was either the stupid shirt, which I hope they made a fortune off of, because they deserved it. And poorly copied tapes.
Right.
That would be handed around, because it was just before
how I got my first NWA album.
Just before CDs dropped.
Yeah.
So it was it was literally masking tape with Wu-Tang written on it. You look underneath and it's like Alanis Morissette. You're like, wait. Why does it say Alanis Morissette? Well, I had Alanis Morissette, now it's Wu-Tang. It's like,
from what I hear, it's nothing to fuck with.
There is one thing I know about life, is that Wu-Tang Clan ain't nothing to fuck with.
I
don't know much.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that. And on that note, let's take a little break. As you can tell, I'm a little out of ice.
Right, yeah.
And we'll be right back. And we're back.
Those are fun.
Those are fun. Hey, speaking of the 5 Tenets of hip hop, one of the first books I read that introduced me to the 5 Tenets of hip hop was "Bomb the Suburbs" by William Upsky, and he is a writer. I want to say he was out of Detroit. And he talked about the early days of graffiti and some of the stuff he talked about. And the reason why he calls the book "Bomb the Suburbs" is because he has this philosophy of they needed to take the message of graffiti, which is, graffiti is in a way a political statement.
Absolutely.
It's not just dropping your name over and over and over in an attempt to say, look, I was here. A lot of graffiti is like, this is what's going on here.
Tagging and graffiti are not the same thing. Tagging is climbing up a billboard and spraying your name over the, Bobby and Billy in the morning, blah, 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 and you write, Toad over it. That's tagging. That's showing everyone where you've been. Graffiti is art.
I would argue...
Tagging is art?
Yes. As someone who tags...
You're going to have to drag me along on that one. How is it art?
You see the cover of my book, Casper Suburban Scumbag?
Absolutely.
Okay, that was my tag.
Right.
Okay.
Where do you put it?
What?
Where do you put it?
I used to put it on buses and telephone booths.
Were you a sticker slapper or...
Sometimes.
Mail labels? I saw that a lot on the buses.
So, mail labels were free. So that's why we did that. We take the mail labels free and we do bleach them out and stuff and we write stuff over and over.
So is doing that the artistic expression, or is the tag itself the artistic expression, or is all of it an artistic expression?
So on Instagram, I follow this group called Cora Book, and they're different people doing different calligraphy styles. And as you mentioned, I'm a word guy, and so not just words themselves and how they are spoken or linked together in whatever image or imagery or ideas that I want to get out there, but also the physical shape and form of those words. And that's where tagging really spoke to me, is that you could take a word, manipulate the spelling and the font and stroke of the pen and change it into this beautiful thing that still had the meaning of the word.
Right.
Now, when we look at like the genealogy of the written text, according to anthropologists, they go back to like one of the earliest written word, which is the Chinese language, which is why their characters are so complex. But you boil it down. I think a great example is how like they interpret like the word fish comes about. It's a very straight, like a line here and then a box and a tail. That's fish. And then over time it changes until you travel over land, and then you look at like what I think is a very beautifully written language, and I don't read a lick of it, is Arabic.
Arabic is awesome.
So Arabic at one end of the spectrum, Chinese at the other end of the spectrum, and everything in between is what tagging is. Tagging is taking a written word, and making it your own and expressing yourself through it. So a lot of times people, I saw you got up here. Like part of that is there is a lot of dog in it, right? There's a lot of marking your territory, and I got up to this place that everyone got to see me. But in the pursuit of getting up there, you practice and you make it your own. So not only...
So there's the art of it.
There is an art to it. There's a very deep... It's very destructive. I'm not going to, like, mince words. Like, there is an intent. It is something I passionately followed in my 20s because I was very destructive in my 20s. And I would never pursue it now at this age because I see how much...
Right, well, it's okay to graffiti and tag a city property for sure. Because you're paying for that anyway. City, it's taxpayer stuff, right?
Right.
And some corporations and stuff, you can rail against the corporation. Like, if I could put a mail label over a fucking Halliburton sign and make them have to scrape it off, I'd be like, yeah, fuck Halliburton, right?
But here's the thing.
You're not supposed to put it on, like, a private business. Definitely not on anyone's car or their home. Like, that's not cool.
And that's something, like, I've seen a lot.
So there's rules.
There was rules for me, but I had my... We all have our own moral compass.
Right.
I knew guys who would never touch schools.
Right.
I had no problem touching a school.
It's someone will clean it up.
Right. Well, I actually knew that people used to clean it up too.
Right.
So it was like, my dad was a janitor for Fresno Unified. He'd come home and be like, "What the hell? Like, I spent 3 hours cleaning up your mess," and he'd be so pissed. I was like, "What can I say?"
It's like, hey, you're gonna retire off me putting stickers on shit, all right?
Actually, that was his retirement job. Like, he used to be a bus driver and he became a janitor because he was like, anyway. But tagging, there is an art form to it, and there are nuances. There are as many nuances to tagging as there are individuals who do it.
Right, just like any other art form, there's nuances to different styles and subgenres and all that stuff.
And I have an Instagram post where I went skating over at Lions Park, and someone took like hair dye. It was like sex, pussy, butthole, and I'm like, was it worth the paint? Like, they're gonna come out here and spray it? Like, come on, if you're gonna do it.
So that's what
if you're gonna go hard, go hard.
I think a lot of people think of when someone uses like a giant one of those industrial Sharpies that's like an inch by an inch, and they write butthole on the side of a bus, and it was like, is this really an artistic expression, or are you just being a shit?
So there used to be a pen called Marks a Lot.
Oh yeah.
And I used to call it the Sir Marks a Lot, like
right.
Sir Mix a Lot.
Right.
And it was really long. It actually had a normal felt a chisel.
Yeah.
But it was really long, so they would go for days. They would go for days. And then after that, there was like the fat permanent marker.
Yeah, I still have one of those, and I had a student ask me for it, and I was like, not on your life. Would I even let you touch this?
So we were at, because I'm working on an art project right now, so we were over at Allard's because I was looking at stuff because I'm trying to get this texture thing down for this idea for a piece that I'm doing. And funny enough, I'm working on this art piece that I'm creating, and it's a bunch of different graffiti styles that I'm putting together on a stand, right? So like I'm working over stuff, and I haven't been to Allard's in like forever,
right?
And I walk in and I'm looking around, and they have pre-made felt tips and hollow pins that you fill up your own fucking ink in. And it's like $10. And I was like, dude, I would have...
Where was this?
Fucking 20 years ago. Where the fuck were you?
I would have had 10 of these like a fucking bandolero.
I fucking bandolero like Chewbacca.
Right.
I'd be fucking marking everything. Like back in the day, we used to go over to Michael's.
That's why you have to buy 18 to buy those pins anymore.
We used to go over to Michael's and we used to rack. They'd have like the grease paint pins and they'd have different colors, but they were always solid colors. So what you'd have to do is you'd have to steal a box of like nylon gloves, and you'd get like, you know, depending whatever you were doing, but mostly like we'd get like yellow, blue, and red. And we'd take razors and we'd cut them open and cut them into thirds and then retape them up. So we'd have this like red, yellow, and blue grease pen to like redo it. Like we had to make our own shit even back then.
Oh, cool though.
But now it's like this fluid gel ink, and you get the bits like that fucking long, so your strokes are all big. Wow. It's like these fucking kids don't even know. They don't even fucking.
They don't even know. What they do know about is the Fresno graffiti wall. Do you know about this?
No, I don't.
It's a formal agreement between a business owner and the graffiti community.
Okay.
Where you can go to the spot, and I know exactly where it is. It's right by the Fresno sign.
Okay.
Where you can just go up there and spray paint it anytime you want. We should go do that.
I always stayed away from those places.
Why?
Beefs last forever. And you do something and someone thinks you're a fucking punk. Like, even back then, it was risky. Like, there were crew... Like, I never had a beef with a crew. I was always cool with people. Because Casper's everybody's friend.
Well, this isn't a wall where you get up and everyone's like, oh, don't cover that up. It's like, no, everyone gets to cover anything.
Anyone thinks you're flossing or a punk ass bitch, they'll follow your ass down, dude. Let me tell you. Like, I trust graffiti artists as much as I trust drug dealers. Okay? Like, right. And I'm serious. They are fucking artists, and they are artists, but they are some of the most ruthless fucking artists you will ever meet. They just assume steal your fucking wallet. Look,
okay.
This is street art. Okay, this isn't posh New York. I studied at Juilliard, and let me tell you about form and shape. These are guys who I've known, a core group of them. Like, we had to steal for our shit.
Right.
It's like either I eat today or I paint today. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So a lot of these guys have huge fucking chips on their shoulders.
Okay.
And if you do anything wrong, they'll just fucking pull your card.
Let's not get involved in that.
I'm too old to have my card pulled.
Yeah, right.
I'm just too fucking old. Look, man.
I'll drink to that.
I'll drink to that.
So the last part of my thing is that I wanted to talk about the style swapping. Vincent was a style swap. California Dreamin' was a style swap. And this is what jazz musicians used to do. And all this thing, there's this book of songs called Jazz Standards.
Right.
And they're songs that you can call it any jam session, and most jazz guys are supposed to know them. Okay. I Got Rhythm and All of Me and, tons and tons of songs. It's like kind of a thick book of songs that you're supposed to know as standards. Well, they started out as just the pop music of the day, and then somebody made it into a jazz version. Okay. And then, so it's a style swap. Originally, it was that corny kind of swing, and whenever
Charleston.
Right, exactly.
And it's like, okay, we're going to take Charleston, and now we're going to fucking jazz it up.
So, your favorite tenor player of mine, John Coltrane, he took the song My Favorite Things from The Sound of Music and turned it into a fucking 12-minute jazz odyssey to where he goes all the way into the fucking stratosphere, and you're just like, there's so many notes, what are you trying to do? and it's like, and then at the end he's just like, and you're like, what is this? So
what you're saying is he escaped Germany?
He escaped Germany. He escaped the atmosphere. He escaped the solar system with this fucking My Favorite Things, right? So there's an American tradition of taking other songs and putting them in a new style.
Right.
And that they're borrowing from this rich tradition. And I just wanted to bring that up.
Mary pointed something out to me at one point that, we have our understanding of modern musicals is that they write these full score, Andrew Lloyd Webber, and Cats, and the Phantom of the Opera.
Right.
and you listen to the songs, and the songs of Rent, and all the songs were written specifically for that musical. That's not how musicals used to work. How musicals used to work is they took different fucking songs from different composers, and they put them together to tell a fucking story. And I was like, I find that to be a lot more interesting. Like, because with that knowledge, I look at music now and I go, oh, I totally want to take music from different...
Well, it's like taking this compilation album
Right.
and writing a story about all the themes in there and then using the songs as to tell those parts of the theme. Yeah, totally.
So, I mean, obviously, you've never been a big fan of punk.
Well, I'm becoming a bigger fan of it because of this experience.
But this is more punk, the pop punk. So...
I'm still not a very big fan of pop punk.
Okay. But there are certain things in it that you're starting to see. Okay, this is interesting.
Wait, well, they're borrowing from a tradition that I've always revered, which is the jazz tradition. And when they're calling back to, taking my favorite things and turning it into a 12-minute jazz odyssey, well, they're taking these pop songs. California Dreamin', that's a pop song.
At some point, we should probably do a...
And making it their own. I like that.
At some point, we should probably do... I don't want to do it next episode. I already know what I want you to listen to for the next episode. But we should do, like, Punk Side Story, which is the West Side Story, but punk songs.
All right.
And it, just bringing it up right now, I immediately remember, like, back at Christmas when we were doing, like, Christmas... punk songs versus Christmas heavy metal songs.
Right.
And...
well, I'm going to win next Christmas because I'm just going to do jazz. I'm going to take the easy way out, and you're going to be fucking dead. There's so many jazz Christmas songs that I've actually had to play concerts full of them. Right.
But I was thinking about how everyone was just doing Danny Elfman's Nightmare Before Christmas.
Right.
Heavy metal style.
Well, it's the most metal-sounding Christmas stuff.
Excuse me. All right.
Christmas is a motherfuck Christmas. No, Christmas, and everyone is metal.
If you're still with us now, don't pass out. Hit that like and share button.
Like and share.
Like and share. So Duke Ellington and Count Basie.
Right. So the name of the album is First Time. Duke Ellington versus Count Basie. So it's got Duke. I don't know which one is which, but Duke Ellington whole orchestra in the left channel. Count Basie whole orchestra.
You just stepped on my dick. That was the last thing I was like. That was my last note I want to bring up. Like,
but we don't know which one's which.
I'll bring it up again.
Okay.
So,
but it's the concept of the album is that they're battling. Even on the love songs, they're battling.
Okay, we'll get to the fact that there's two bands at the end of this. Let me go through just like my musical.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about the Wikipedia, the deep dive I went in on the back end.
Lead me.
Now, I'm not going to talk about all of the songs. I'm just going to talk about the first five.
Perfect. That's all you need.
Okay. So, Battle Royale, Opening Gates. Now, this is 1961. These guys are big names at this point, and this is their introduction to what they're doing to their listening audience, and it's fun. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Hey, sit back. We're gonna have a great time. We're gonna have fun tonight. There's no competition. There's no nothing. We're having a good time, and it's very light. And my personal note is the horns feel like a voice. Like right out of the gate, we have a trumpet playing. We have a saxophone kind of responding. There's a little bit of flute going on there, and there's conversations going on in the horn section. And it's just really nice because they're not screaming at each other and bloody fucking murder. No one's being tortured. Everyone's having a good time. And so I just wrote their voices, but they're not screaming in pain. They actually sound like they're excited to be there.
Yeah.
And this goes back to we're going to have a good time. And just before the last minute, there's just this clean drum solo. And it's clean.
Mm-hmm.
And it's doom, 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 and it's just crystal clear. And then everyone joins in. It's a big finish. And so, it was a great way to end a really fun number. Number 2,
Okay.
To You. And I call this song a panty dropper.
It's a sexy chart.
If you can't get laid after slow dancing to this song, she's definitely not into you.
She is not into you, for sure.
2 minutes into the song, there's an experience a man has where he's holding his boo and he's nibbling just that part of her neck, and she makes a sound where you get it just fucking right.
Yeah.
And they did that musically.
Yeah, totally.
They did that fucking musically.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, if you're on a date and you have the opportunity to slow dance to this song and you don't get laid, you done fucked up.
Yeah, you wasn't gonna get laid.
You are never gonna get laid.
There was no chance.
This song, I was like, this is the song that gets women hot. And if you've got to make sure you're there to catch her.
Yeah.
Because these bitches are fainting left and right. This song's so good. I was like, damn.
Yeah, Basie gonna give it to you.
Yeah, in full disclosure, like, I was working and I popped the album on. I listened to it over and over and over, and I wasn't really tracking anything. I was just like, yeah, this is kind of good. Like, this is the, if I would say I need jazz music, this is what someone would send over. Like, this is jazz, solid. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It's pure fucking jazz.
Right.
The third track, Take a Train. Busy city sidewalk. Right? And I know it's Take a Train. Maybe they're trying to do
it's Take the A Train.
Oh, it's Take the A Train.
Which is a subway in New York City.
Right. But I saw the images that were coming in it was a busy city sidewalk. And it's that 3-piece cello, piano, and snare drum. Boom, 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 boom. And then
yeah, that's 3-piece combo.
All that right there.
That's the tightest unit of jazz.
Is just the perfect and you know, as I wrote it, like, that really sells just cruising down the sidewalk. Like, whenever jazz is like, oh, you're just walking down the street, it's those 3 pieces.
Yeah.
Perfectly put together, and I got that.
Right.
Immediately I listened, I was like, oh, that's why that's the 3 things.
Right.
Because you know, blues comes from, when I think of blues, I think the blues comes from like the South. It comes from hardship. It comes from a small shack on the side of a road late at night, hot, sweaty Georgia nights. Right. But when I'm thinking jazz, that's New York, baby. That's Chicago. That's Detroit. That's
crisp.
It is. It really is. And the only thing that really encapsulates that city lifestyle is those 3-piece. And so Take the A Train starts with that. And I immediately was like, oh shit. Yeah, no, yeah, walking down the street. I get this. I understand why this is a thing. And then the horns come in with all the other accompaniment. And that adds all the chaos to the person walking down the street. So the first part of the story is like, you're walking out, you're heading down, and you're still in your neighborhood, but then you make a right and you're down the next street, and all of a sudden you're hit with cars and grocers and peddlers and all the hustle and bustle of city living. And I write, and that's what I'm coming to see with a lot of jazz. It really does a great job of expressing the emotion of city living.
Sure. That's where it comes from.
Number 4 was Corner Pocket, also known as Until I Met You. Now, I don't know if this is supposed to be a love song. Corner Pocket was just incredibly playful and fun, and it just reminded me of, like, your buddy. The guy who busts your chops. Like, you go out, you're going to the pool hall, you're going to the bar or something, and it's your buddy there, and he's got a fucking joke every 5 minutes, and he's busting you show up with that fucking shirt on. Why are you wearing that? Like, this is like, what the fuck?
Hey, look at Jimmy Pink shirt over here.
Yeah, it's that fucking guy, right? So whatever they were trying to sell, what I saw was just a single, like, your buddy. Buddy, right?
Sure.
Number 5, Wild Man.
Oh, Wild Man is so good.
Titles feel like they match the themes really well. So at this point, I'm realizing every fucking title feels like the theme of the music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you listen to music now, and there's a title, and you're like, well, what the fuck does this mean? You have to go into some deep dive, like, well, it was my second christening, and that's why I named it after the pastor who fucking baptized me. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Why is the song named Charlie that doesn't even say Charlie at any point? Oh, it's my buddy who was on the couch when I wrote the song. I was like, well...
I had a cat one time, and he fucking clawed me when I came...
When you listen to the Wild Man Blues,
I would
tell me what you hear.
Right.
Well, you hear fucking Wild Man, right?
You hear the Wild Man. And then the second thing I wrote is, this song reminds me of how TV sold Africa.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So, like, and I had this vision of, like, this dude, well, we got to tell these Midwestern Americans just, like, what Africa is like. And so we're going to have this lady in a banana outfit jumping and dancing around, which is actually a real thing. She was a black American who moved to Paris, and that's what she was known for, was the thing. Served as a revolution, the French Revolution, or the French Resistance during World War II. Mm-hmm. Refused to come back to the States because of our racial...
a lot of jazz people had that experience. They got to France and are like, oh, this isn't fucked up at all. I think I'm just going to stay.
Yeah. And she came to my mind, and her name escapes me. She was just the beautiful singer and dancer. Mm-hmm. But the song was like... And it kind of dawned on me, the reason why I'm having this visual experience of this song is because they played this song, and some studio exec goes, yeah, this is what we're going to do. And from that point on in history, Wild Man is what they played when they wanted, because the Congos come in, and I'm like, that's exactly what African Congos are supposed to say.
Right, when you watch a Bugs Bunny cartoon and they're like, now we're on the savannah, you get those sounds, right?
You get those sounds, and I went, oh.
You feel like you're on safari.
And it's a really...
And it's a very Ellington thing to do. I can tell that one was an Ellington tune. Without even knowing where it came from, I'd be like, oh, that's what Ellington did. Because he was, like, writing soundtracks for movies that didn't exist.
It was a very enlightening moment to realize where my cultural indoctrination came from.
Right.
Like, it was like a fucking... Wild Man was the moment when I realized, oh, fuck, everything that I know about television and my early interpretation in the 80s is strung together all the way back to the 1950s and 60s with these guys creating music and studio execs borrowing, stealing, or otherwise to create... I think we talked when we were editing, and you're like, video is 60% sound. If you can get...
100%.
And the Wild Man definitely... What was that?
I said 100%. I mean 60%.
The Wild Man is definitely that. I was like, oh fuck. So I was having this really cool and then at the 40-second mark, the horn that comes in like a husky young beauty with Betty Davis eyes. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by husky is, I know now in the modern world everyone goes, oh, husky, so she was plump. And it's like, no, husky was it was a very heavy voice, right? Like this is about a lady who's been smoking all day.
Yeah. And it's a trombone player, and they're all over. It's like, the
trombone, and it was soft. Mm-hmm. With the trombone, you get a lot of, and it's big. Mm-hmm. But this one, when it came in, it was soft. That's where I was like this husky young woman,
right?
And she's trying to convince a sailor to buy her another drink. This is definitely it definitely had this woman at the end of the bar, and it's 40 seconds in, and from that point on, the rest of what I envisioned as I listened to this song is the back and forth between this woman and her prey, as it were. So some interesting notes.
Okay.
Song 7 is called BDB.
I don't know.
I am going to assume, I don't know how to play music, that BDB is a reference to BDB. In some capacity, maybe.
Could be.
Because
I didn't revisit the record, but the first 5 I know those 5.
There's no acronym, and in fact, BDB has a lot of different meanings in modern world.
Well, here in Fresno, it could mean the Bulldog Beat, which is a pet band that plays at the college.
And if you happen to be gay, it's Big Dick Bottom.
Right.
Which I know because I was curious, what's BDB? And that's the first thing that popped up, and I went, oh, okay.
There's a couple of reasons why it could absolutely be that. Which would be why they called it BDB and not Big Dick Bottom.
Because one of them's gay?
They had a little class. I don't know if they're gay or not, but it wasn't above them to like throw in something completely like
wild,
dirty.
So I highly recommend, if you want to have an experience, pour yourself a cocktail, sit back, listen to Duke Ellington and Count Basie. Basie. So
first time! Exclamation point.
First time! Exclamation point. So I listened to it, and then I did like deep dives. Who are these? Right. So with John Coltrane, he had an accompaniment with another, not Lee Marvin.
Lee Morgan. Right. My second favorite trumpet player.
Who played on the Coltrane album.
Yes.
And so I was wondering, so are these two different trumpet players? Because you're usually a brass guy. So you usually do a lot of brass stuff, right?
Yes.
So I was like, okay. So I started looking into all this. And so first off, it was all Duke Ellington's a piano player. I was like, oh, okay, well, there's the piano. And then it's like, and Count Basie is a piano player. And I went,
right. So when the piano's going back and forth, it's the two guys doing their styles.
But I didn't know that.
Right.
So I was like, they're both piano players and orchestra leaders. So I started doing, looking at this. And this is from Wikipedia. First time! Exclamation point. The Count Meets the Duke is an album by an American pianist, composers, and band leaders, Duke Ellington and Count Basie, with their combined orchestras, recorded and released on the Columbia label in 1961. On stereo releases of the album, Basie's band is featured on the left channel and Ellington's on the right.
Okay, I didn't know that.
And so, here's the thing. I didn't know it was two bands.
Uh-huh.
And here's my note. I would say I was shocked to hear that it was two full orchestras and it does not feel noisy or crowded.
Right.
The entire album is two full orchestras.
Right. Jazz orchestras.
Right. There's like 12 to 15 players.
21 guys.
21 guys?
Right.
It doesn't sound like it.
No, it's super clean, right?
It's 6 guys in a room. That's what I heard. I heard 6 fucking guys in a room.
Yeah.
There is no way there's 21 guys in it.
42 guys, because it's 2 orchestras.
Oh my God.
So it's 5 saxophones across, tenor, alto, bari, tenor, alto, tenor, bari.
Right.
Then it's 4 trombone players. Then it's 4 or 5 trumpet players. Then it's piano, bass, drums, guitar, because there's definitely guitar in both orchestras.
Right.
Because that's who's going ding, 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 ding at the very beginning of the record.
Right.
So, however many, and sometimes they have vibes, so that's another.
So
orchestra. So 19 to 21 piece orchestras, right?
Yeah, and so I'm listening. I'm like, there's no fucking.
You're like, this is 6 guys, right?
Because if
it's super clean.
Every single trumpet player, and I'm just singling out, if every single trumpet player in these orchestras played simultaneously, as someone who's recently thrown into the world of editing and dealing with microphones and time delay between this side of the room and that side of the room, to have every single instrument overlap so perfectly where it sounds like one,
it's really hard.
That is super hard.
Right.
So, blown away, totally impressed. I really, really knocked my fucking socks off. But here's the thing. I lost track of what I was saying.
You're talking about the 2 orchestras and how it sounded clean when they came together and how it was very cohesive.
Really blew my fucking mind. Highly recommend someone watching it, listening to it. It is definitely something to have an experience in. Like, get the album, buy the record.
Well, that's what you said.
Oh, that's what I remember. Hey, I circled back. I remember now. Hey, there we go. If I would say get the record on stereo, put headphones on, and listen to both sides battling.
That's how I used to do it.
However, another fun way of listening to it is on Spotify, because after the 9th song, there's 6 more songs of extra tracks and studio cuts.
Like outtakes that they recorded but didn't make it on the 45-minute piece of vinyl.
Exactly.
Right.
And there's
I've never heard those.
And there's recordings of them talking.
Oh, shit.
And there's one where Duke Ellington's leaving. It's like, nah, he's leaving. He's like, damn, baby, I'm leaving, baby. I'm out of here. And it's fucking like, there's certain things we do as cool. As children from the 80s.
Yeah.
And a lot of it, like, you look at 48 Hours, you look at Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy walking into a bar.
Coolest guy of the 80s.
Purple neon,
Totally.
the jackets and everything. But he's borrowing heavily in the way he talks from these guys.
Well, he's borrowing from Richard Pryor, and Richard Pryor is borrowing from Duke Ellington, and Duke Ellington is going from Oscar Peterson.
Right. But it's an incredibly wonderful opportunity to listen to them, like, just talk to one another. And
it's a style.
There's power plays going on, but no one's pissed off at each other.
Right.
But there's like ego in play, but you listen to it and you're like, oh, this is where the birth of cool really comes from. Like these guys, like I know motherfuckers who think they're hard, but these guys just sounded fucking smooth as fucking silk.
Yeah,
It's just like, I was
totally.
like, dude, to be a fucking fly in that room and there's like, oh, he's just leaving now, and then the drummer's in the background, he's drumming, he's like, yeah, but did I get my tempo right? Like, he's like, what the fuck? I don't care if he's leaving, am I doing my shit right? And like, everything is fucking cool about it.
Yeah.
And you are a cooler person if you just listen to it.
Totally.
So that was like the really cool bonus thing about the Spotify was they had these
I have
extra
to
tracks.
check that out.
And I don't know where the fuck they came from because it's not on the original album.
Well, they do a lot of jazz recordings like that. So when CDs came out, you could get Blue Train, for example, the one that we reviewed on episode 3, was it? 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was like 3.
You can buy Blue Train the complete sessions. So what they do is they record the songs, and then they record take 2, and then they record take 3, and they only put one of them on the record. But they still recorded it 3 times.
Right.
So one of the greatest things about Lee Morgan is that every time you hear Lee Morgan play a solo, it's completely extemporaneous. It's completely improvised. He's that fucking good to where he doesn't show up with ideas. Like even John Coltrane shows up with some ideas of what he's going to play.
right.
And Lee is just off the dome the whole time. Like when they say that Eminem did that Rap God verse, they're saying that he did it freestyle.
And we're back. Okay, so Rap God. All right. Here's the thing about Rap God. Does he do it in one take? Did he freestyle it in one take?
I'll tell you, he doesn't.
Is what?
It's not one take. When you watch him do it live, somebody picks up a few words so he can take a breath. And if you listen to the way it's edited, it's definitely not one take.
So there are several.
I don't think it was off the dome.
So here's the thing. There are several things that I've seen Dre talk about with Eminem that I found that was interesting. He may not spit it in one take, or there's assistance, or the first time he did it, but he may have written it in one take.
Right.
And who's the guy who used to work with Run DMC, Aerosmith, Jay-Z?
Rick Rubin.
Rick Rubin. Rubin talks about how people work on their lyrics and everything like that.
Yeah.
And Jay-Z's a very meticulous.
He's composed.
Like
he's
but he's incredibly precise in his, and it doesn't take him a lot. This is why he's Jay-Z. It doesn't take him a lot of go-throughs before he's like ready to drop it because his brain is
he's got to practice.
So fucking super fired.
Right.
Eminem has his street cred came from freestyling.
Yeah.
in the hip hop Olympics,
Right.
down in L.A. And I feel like he pushes himself to keep that image. Some of his stuff is definitely he can do freestyle easy. I would never fucking battle that man. He would
nobody would battle him.
I think Rap God though was he wrote it once. He listened to the beat, wrote it out, and then figured out how to perform it.
Sure.
I think that's true.
I don't think it was as freestyled as they make it out to be, but it was more freestyle than I could ever.
Dre has said
right.
that Eminem will listen to a beat once.
Yeah.
Walk out, come back without listening to it again, and he has the full his section's done.
So Lee Morgan is the Eminem of the 60s jazz world, to where he can just do shit off the dome, and where other guys are like Jay-Z and they've rehearsed and they kind of have ideas. They do different versions of it, but it's kind of the same solo. Lee Morgan's completely different solo every time. And you're just like, holy shit. Like, once you hear the alternate takes of these songs, that's when you go, oh, he really is amazing.
Dude, I am a West Coast boy, so
Right.
I was always like, fucking Jay-Z, who the fuck is that?
Yeah, I miss Jay-Z the same way I miss Wu-Tang. I was always Death Row.
And then I was having a conversation with a guy. They were talking about his net worth, Jay-Z's net worth.
Yeah, he owns a fucking basketball team. He's got money. He's wealthy. He's not rich. He's wealthy.
Right. But they're talking about how much money he had, and I was like, okay, this definitely sounds like someone who's more than I originally thought.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, 'cause look, man, I'm a Snoop Dogg guy. Fucking like.
Yeah, me too. I was NWA and Snoop,
Right,
and
like-
then Tupac and like that whole side of it.
Right, like sipping on gin and juice and everything.
For sure.
There's a reason why I like gin so much, baby.
For
It's like
real.
Snoop Dogg raised me on it.
Yeah. Thanks, Uncle Snoop.
But Jay-Z was East Coast.
Yeah.
And he was a part of the group of East Coast rappers. I never even gave the time of day. And I'm not going to say I didn't like them. I never even gave them an opportunity.
Well, it wasn't really on the radio, so we didn't get any of it out here.
So when someone started saying, well, Jay-Z's worth this, I went, well, obviously he's not an idiot. He's got something.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, because he's not a flash in a pan, and maybe I need to show a little fucking respect and learn a thing or two. And I start listening to his shit, and I realize, fuck, dude, I've been missing out forever.
Right.
I couldn't tell you what my favorite Jay-Z song is. I couldn't tell you what his best
Mine's
song is.
99
Because
Problems.
I'm still...
It's really great.
The subject matter is really great and really catchy, but I would say that there's a deeper conversation that he's having. Like, that's the pop hit.
Right.
Like, we're just talking about, like pop...
I'll tell you why it's my favorite. It has nothing to do with the song itself.
Why is it your favorite?
One of my favorite mashups of all time is 99 Problems mashed up with Voodoo Child. So it goes, dun, 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 dun. If you having girl problems, I got mad for you, son. I got 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. Bow, ba, dun, dun, dun. It's amazing. You can find it on YouTube.
Yeah, that's worth the Google search.
That's why that one's my favorite. That's how I got introduced to Jay-Z. That's how late it was. That it was already mashup season, so the song had been out for 5-6 years.
However long, yeah.
Right. So that's what the complete sessions are of jazz albums, and that's where those extra tracks came from. Is they
Right.
record more shit.
And that's the coolest.
It's like behind the scenes featurette for movies.
So so as I'm listening to these albums, I'm having two experiences. Mm-hmm. I'm having an introduction to music I've never heard before, and they're moving. This is really good shit. It's moving my emotions. And
Even my old band director who introduced me to jazz didn't know about this record. I was like, hey, which side is the band on? He's like, I've never even heard of that record. And I was like, well, check it out. It's amazing.
it's fucking great. But also when I get this little behind the scenes stuff, it's looking into America. It's time traveling in a way. We dramatize in movies and we overrate, but just like, I don't know if I ever told you I have this idea for a book idea about my father and Mary's father and the crazy shit that they did. Neither of these men are historically great. Excuse me. Pardon me. Neither of these men are historically great, but they did crazy shit in their lives. And so what is greatness? What is the measurement of greatness? And so I'm kind of I'm kind of interested in like this metric of how we view men, but not in the cultural pop commercial. What do we sell? But like guys in their natural fucking state, like a couple of musicians in 1961, who are just like, we're just trying to cut this album. This fucking guy's leaving, and I'm just trying to, and it's like.
Like, this is our job. We're at work.
They're at work. They're at work. They're doing a job, right? They're not.
Yeah, it wasn't recorded at a club. It was in the studio at like 2 p.m.
Or so like that kind of that fascinates me and interests me. That's someplace I want to be more of, not to idolize or copy, but just to understand how these men really fucking live.
There's a famous behind the scenes audio tape of jazz. And it's from Buddy Rich, who was a contemporary of Basie and Ellington. Maybe a little bit later, maybe bigger in the 70s, but definitely from the 60s.
Right.
And it's called Buddy Rich Cusses Out the Band.
Okay.
So, the end of the gig, the musicians get on the bus, and Buddy Rich, the drummer, the band leader, gets on the bus and cusses them out for 12 minutes straight. And it's the greatest fucking tape, because someone starts the tape recorder in their pocket. And Buddy Rich is like, what the fuck was that? I'm paying you guys good money, and you're up there fucking up my stage. Clams all over. The clam is a mistake. Right? And he goes, clams all over the fucking stage. And fucking kids in the park can play better than you motherfuckers. Why don't I just go get them? You'll be off the bus tonight. You can fucking walk back to New York City. And it's so brilliant. And it's like this behind the scenes to where you watch Buddy Rich on the Merv Griffin show, which is like, late night talk show or whatever. And he's like, I play drums, cha, 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 cha. And then you see Buddy Rich, you hear that tape, and you're like, this guy is made of pure volcanic fire.
It's like a turtle fucking helmet out there, a monkey fucking a foot, but what the fuck is going on?
That's the whole tape. You're going to love it. I'll send you the link. So the other thing,
one more thing I want to say before we move on from these two. So obviously I'm like looking back, and I went to Wikipedia and they got these pictures of these guys. These motherfuckers were good looking.
Oh sure, they were the rock stars of 1961.
Dude, you hear a voice made for radio. Obviously these motherfuckers, like a person who does music doesn't make movies, right?
Right.
You Google a good-looking, well-dressed man. These two dudes look fucking like... And they weren't in their 20s either in the pictures I saw. They were like 30s.
No, they're elder statesmen. They're, late 30s, early 40s.
And they look...
They're probably born in 1928.
And they looked like fucking... I was like, goddamn, like...
To the nines.
All
the way.
The time.
Yeah.
Hair slicked back, manicured mustache. They look slick fucking... You look at... So the reason why I bring this up is my very, very limited exposure to jazz musicians is who survived.
Right.
Like, you got B.B. King. But it's B.B. King, 60, 70, 80 years old. Right?
Right, and he's more of a blues guy, but sure.
I just discovered Taj Mahal, and it's Taj Mahal later years in jazz, as I'm learning. Anyone who survived. So I'm looking at them as 80-year-old men.
Yeah.
And you see these guys, they are
in their prime,
good looking in their prime and clean cut. And I go, why the fuck? When these pictures were taken of these men, they weren't rich.
Well, Duke Ellington was rich, and Count Basie was rich too.
Eventually, they earned it.
They
by 61.
For sure.
Okay, because my whole point is this: like,
they might not have been millionaires, but they were 100,000aires for sure.
When
you could buy a house for $2,000,
right? Interest rates applied and everything. But what my point is like, they didn't come from money. They worked their ass off for their street cred, and they looked fucking slick, fucking doing it.
Yeah.
And I look at fucking famous stars now, both whether it's rock and roll or hip hop or fucking everything in between or even pop music.
You're saying Post Malone doesn't live up to the example that they set for him?
He's a great guy, and I've actually seen interviews with him.
He's super talented.
And he's incredibly intelligent.
Yeah. But he doesn't have the look.
But he looks like a bag of garbage.
He totally does.
And all these artists now do, and I actually blame punk
A little bit, for sure.
I totally kind of blame
the face tattoos and
like the whole
he's like got stay awake tattooed on his face. He's like, cause I'm sleepy all the time, so I tattooed on my face. It's like, that doesn't match up. That doesn't work. That's not how it works.
So yeah, looking at these guys and I'm going, dude,
yeah, super slick.
These guys are awesome. Like,
yeah. They were on TV. They were in movies.
Okay, so they were the face of...
Yeah, they were the face of big band music. Now, big band was biggest in the late 30s, mid 40s, even into the 50s, and jazz was still pop music in 1955, in 1958. It was still, you were still getting pop music, jazz, 45s. Right. Just like the Beatles were in the 60s, right? So in 1961, we're still at the height of popularity of jazz. And these guys rode the whole wave. So they are the elder statesmen, the richest guys that are running the fucking program. And it would be like Biggie and Tupac bringing their whole crews, and Biggie's in the left channel and Tupac's in the right channel, and they're collaborating and they're going back and forth making something.
What I know about
amazing.
The history that almost happened, except for fucking Tupac got shot in the elevator,
right?
And that started the war,
right?
Could you imagine that fucking album if Tupac did not get shot? He made it up to fucking Biggie's fucking studio. The fucking record they would have cut.
Totally.
God, it would have been face melting.
Yeah. Everything we know about hip-hop would have been different.
Fuck yeah.
So one of the things in the jazz tradition is a thing called a cutting session.
Okay.
So you would play at the dinner club, the jazz orchestra, and everyone would dance, and we would have those romantic moments where, you know, if you can slow dance to this, you can get laid, and all those people go home, right?
Right.
So the band would go to a after-hours bar, and then they would do what's called a cutting session where they would try to play solos and outdo each other.
Okay.
So I'm going to play, and the next guy after me is going to go, and the guy after that's going to be like, right?
Right.
So you would kind of get stacked like a rap battle.
Right.
The rap battle comes from the cutting sessions of the 30s and 40s, from the jazz tradition. And that's why I connect hip-hop to jazz in a way that a lot of other people don't. I'm like, they do all the same shit.
Totally.
Right. It's extemporaneous, it's freestyle, it's battles back and forth. That's what this is.
By the way, I found a video recording.
Mm-hmm.
It was... Fuck, I do not want to fuck this up because it was iconic. I want to say it was Busta Rhymes versus Method Man in a fucking parking garage.
Right. Yeah, that's a cutting session.
New York.
It's after hours. We're not in the studio. It's just you and me.
So, and I don't know. So obviously you showed up late to Wu-Tang, and I'm still catching up to Wu-Tang.
Right.
Being a West Coast guy. So the members of the Wu-Tang are from the 5 boroughs. Everyone represents a different fucking crew, and they all knew each other from the rap battles from underground.
Yeah.
So their first albums, their first cuts were treated like the rap battles on the streets. So when I say this video of Busta Rhymes, this isn't after hours. This is before they're even welcome into the club.
Mm-hmm.
Right? This is them all just cutting their teeth and shit.
Right.
And fucking, it's some of the rawest. There ain't nothing like an artist trying to prove his shit.
Yeah.
There ain't nothing like that.
So that's what this album comes from.
Okay.
So we got the cutting sessions that are after hours, and now we have whole orchestras that are cutting back and forth. But even on the smooth, slow dance tune, we're still cutting, like, who can be smoother? Who can be more romantic? Who can be more emotive?
Right.
Like, so every tune, Wild Man Blues, you got this flute player going nuts over here, and then trombone player comes in and he's like, well, let me make it slinky. And then the trumpet player is like, well, let me make it crazy. And the flute player is like, well, let's go back into the jungle. And so, yeah, that's one of the reasons that I adore that album. And I'm glad you got to experience it.
That's a great album. It's one of those, it's one of those albums you can have an experience with. And I highly recommend people create experiences for themselves.
Sure.
Like John Coltrane. Gin martinis and a cigar in my backyard.
Totally.
At fucking 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Like, that's something you do with John Coltrane.
Uh-huh.
This is definitely an album you can do that with, you know. excuse me again, Scotch on the Rocks, Dim Lights, Slow Dancing with the Lady. This is an album you can create like memories with.
Mm-hmm.
This is the type of album that you pick a wedding song around. Like,
sure.
It's that iconic. Next episode.
Yes.
I already know what band I want you to listen to. I don't know what album I want you to listen to.
Okay. Name the band.
I know we talked back and forth. We're hoping to get Mantis Watch on, and a great band. They're local. I call them comic book punk because they do these themes that are really fun. But also, we are to get the Valesha on here.
All right. Valesha, we did, though.
We did Valesha.
Yeah. It's a great effect.
The lead singer is going to go on tour with Exploited.
I don't know what that is.
It's the name of the next band you got to check out.
Oh, Exploited.
In the recording session where I bring up Valesha and I say Exploited, you go, name another punk rock band that is a punk rock band that's more punk rock than Exploited. Oh, wait. Exploited is the...
All right.
So why don't we cover Exploited?
Okay.
Fun fact, I actually don't know anything about Exploited. They are not in my wheelhouse of punk music other than...
Okay, well then that one we'll have to do together. You'll listen and I'll listen and we'll compare notes.
We'll pick one of their hit albums.
Okay.
As we kind of covered in this session, like I'm more of a pop punk guy with...
Right.
Like my punk roots come from my sister, my oldest sister.
But we're a product of our environment.
Right.
That was your environment.
Well, there's certain stuff that I just love, like
Right.
Agent Orange and Bad Religion and the Circle Jerks and Brain Damage, and I can go on and on and on. But pop punk is, my nostalgia era. Exploited predates that.
Okay.
They're more of the 80s punk.
Right. Well, that's the kind of shit that when I think of punk, that this is what I'm expecting to hear.
Right.
So this will be interesting. So your album is going to be back on the metal side.
Okay.
And it's going to be Faith No More's Angel Dust.
Faith No More.
So Faith No More's first album was with a singer that I've never even heard. Their second album was a guy named Chucky, and that's when they did We Care a Lot.
Right.
It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it.
And what's funny is I actually think I know Faith No More.
You know them from the song Epic. You want it all, but you can't have it. Right. So that's their first album with Mike Patton from Mr. Bungle. And it's a great rap metal album.
Okay.
It's what Limp Bizkit thought they were doing and missed the mark by a million miles. You
know my feelings on Limp Bizkit.
I don't like Limp Bizkit.
I don't like Limp Bizkit either. After Faith, before Faith, they were a great garage band.
Right.
After Faith, the studio had their hand so up far their ass.
Right. Yeah, new metal is a travesty. I'll never bring any of that into our conversation, but their second album with Mike, Mike's voice finally develops all the way.
Okay.
Most metal bands and a lot of punk musicians and rap musicians and all musicians after this album came out consider this an influence of theirs. And if you go on Wikipedia, you'll just see people listing this album as an influence of theirs. And you're like, what does this guy even know about this? Like, it had one, top 30, maybe top 45 hit on it.
Right.
Which was Midlife Crisis. It's the worst song on the album. It is my favorite album with heavy metal guitars on it.
I want to ask you something. I am not deeply embedded in the punk rock scene in Fresno, but I have friends and I try to get out to their shows and see what's going on, who's doing this and that. Do you have connections in the heavy metal scene in Fresno? Is there a heavy metal scene in Fresno, and is this something we can explore?
We should explore it, because I have no idea. Like the jazz
Does heavy
scene,
metal exist?
I don't know.
Like, because when I think of heavy metal, I think Motley Crue. I think Los Angeles, 1980s, leather studs and pussy.
Right.
Like Motley Crue, and like that is like, that's heavy metal.
Well, the problem with heavy metal is there's so many parts of heavy metal. There's hair metal. There's pop metal.
There's glam metal.
There's glam metal. There's Bon Jovi, which I don't consider to be metal at all. That's hard rock. But some people are like, oh, yeah, it's a metal band. It's fucking not a metal band. So is Warrant a metal band? Well, it's fucking not. It's a hard rock band. Is Motley Crue a metal band?
So now we're diving into something interesting. What is hard rock?
What is the difference between hard rock and metal? Because they're close.
Yeah, if you could define what hard rock is...
Right.
You easily could exclude everyone who's metal.
Right. So then we have pop rock. Is Never Gonna Give You Up a rock tune or it's a pop tune?
Never Gonna Give You Up. Rick, did you
by Rick Astley, right.
Did you just Rick roll me, you motherfucker?
My watch just said, I don't know how to respond to that. So there's a lot of places where we divide up genres. So about heavy metal in Fresno, I don't know. The jazz scene in Fresno, I got my fingers all the way in. I'm part of it. So that I know exists, and I know where to find it, and I know who's doing it. But metal, I have no idea.
So what goat do we have to sacrifice? What altar of pagan beliefs do we need to endure to find the heavy metal core of Fresno?
I think you just go on Facebook, probably.
All right, we're just going to Google it.
Goats aren't required anymore.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I hope you have a great time tonight. Hey, but don't pass out now. Hit the like and share button. Hit the like and share button. Tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your cousins, tell your lovers. Tell everybody about the hilarious antics of Gin and Scotch.
Gin and Scotch. Play it for your dogs while you're at work.
That's probably the best outro I've ever fucking... Just play for your dogs. Hey, brother. Cheers.
Cheers.